My name is Hon Prestige Ossy. I represent Aba North, Aba South Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Abia State. The need to create a more conducive atmosphere for the senior citizens to access their pension as at when due is the motion that I want to move. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Chief Whip, please disperse the crowd.
Honorable Ossy, have you moved the motion? You have not read the body of the motion.
Okay, Mr. Speaker, the House notes that some of the senior citizens who have spent their entire active years working for the development and stability of the country and are thereby entitled to monthly pensions are suffering neglect, hardship, poverty, and depression in their old ages. Concerned that majority of the states in Nigeria do not release funds for payment of these pensioners as at when due, resulting in some of them being owed up to 9 months pension arrears as a result of sharp practices on the part of some government officials who use the monies meant for payment of pension for their personal aggrandizement. Also concerned that 12 years after the enactment of the Pension Reform Act of 2004, the state government and the organized private sector, which are the two major employers of labor in the country, have failed to fully activate the contributory pension scheme. Aware that most of these retirees who are very old, frail, and can barely stand or walk without aids are in some cases made to stand in long queues for hours in order to collect their pension, leading to the collapse and death of some of the pensioners. Convinced that the mode of assessing pension in Nigeria is too rigorous for these old and fresh citizens, and believe that there is an urgent need to devise a less cumbersome procedure to assess pensions by senior citizens. The House resolved to urge the National Pension Commission to devise a less stressful means of pension payment in order to mitigate the sufferings of pensioners in collecting their pensions, and mandate the Committee on Pensions to investigate the immediate and remote causes of delay in the payment of pensions and report back to the House within 4 weeks for further legislative action. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Abiodun.
Thank you, Mr.
Speaker and honorable colleagues, that in some cases, these old men and women are required to travel very long distances to the areas, the state capitals, where they are to queue up to collect these pensions. Some of them are being done under one accreditation or the other, thereby making them, along the line, have issues with their health. I read from one of the national newspapers last week in one cartoon where a pensioner was going to collect his pension and he came with a coffin on his head. And his colleagues asked him, "Why are you having a coffin on your head?" And the man said, "This coffin has to be made available because I can die anytime, so that you don't have need to go rolling around to look for where to buy a coffin. So you can just put me in the coffin and take me back to my village." Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I feel that there should be a more decent way of making these our senior citizens collect what they have worked for over the years. There is nobody here who will not retire one day and become a pensioner. And I don't think that we will be happy to pass through those stress that most of our senior citizens are passing through now. In some civilized countries, they build homes for them because after so many years of long service, some of them are not be able to have their personal homes. They build homes for old citizens, for the senior citizens, where they are accommodated and fed. But in Nigeria, the reverse is the case. We only see them as people who have served and will not go home with anything at the end of the day. Mr. Speaker, distinguished colleagues, I also want to make it abundantly clear here, sir, that in no distant time there will be problem with this system, in as much as this system is not changed. Some of them have children who are not employed in any organization at all. Their children are all unemployed. They can't even access their pension. Some of them are dying of hunger. And I think at this point that this House of the People should make it mandatory for those who are in charge of paying these senior citizens to have a more conducive means of collecting their pension in order to let them live longer instead of dying earlier than their time. Mr. Speaker, I so move. Thank you very much. That the motion be referred to the committees that have actually prayed for on the motion, and then at that level, if there's anything anybody has to say on that, I think that is exactly where the person can come up with anything. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Okay, he has appealed to Caesar. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Those against it say nay. The ayes have it.